What's up, our support fibro friends? Hello, hello. We have a very special presentation today. I think I titled it Holiday Fibromyalgia Advocacy with Brandi. Please welcome Brandi onto the live broadcast. Brandi is the co-founder of Support Fibromyalgia Network, and she's also one of the program director leads. She also started and founded Being Fibro Mom. You got to go check out the blog and support all her work there and some of the amazing reels. She's also done health and wellness coaching from Dr. Sears program. So a lot of great information coming. And of course, she inspired a lot of the advocacy programs that we have here at the Support Fibromyalgia Network. So we'll be seeing more of Brandi in 2023 coming up. I am Melissa Talwar. I'm the executive director for the Support Fibromyalgia Network, and I'm also a board certified functional medicine health coach. How is everybody managing the holidays right now? It's December. I can't believe it's the end of the year coming up. How many weeks do we have until Christmas?
Oh, we're not in weeks right now, Melissa. We're in days. It's
Oh,
days in our
days?
house. Yeah, we don't count by
Days.
weeks. We count by days. Like as soon as Halloween is over, we start counting by weeks. And then as soon as Thanksgiving, like the day of Thanksgiving, we start counting by days. You don't have little kids running around your house, so you don't understand that, but that's where we are. We're in the days.
Well, no, I see Santa sitting behind you, so you're
And I got
you're
my
ready to
Santa
go.
shirt on.
There you go.
I love
Someone's
Santa.
been Okay, I have to remember that. I saw something, and I'll have to tell you at the end when we get out the broadcast about Santa on the garage. So I've been catching up on my TV shows. But hello to all our support fibro friends. Today we're talking about advocacy and especially holiday advocacy and staying involved. So this is going to be a unique presentation for all of you out there. Post an emoji, say hello, let us know where you're tuning in from, like and share the content. So, just to catch everybody up, when it comes to the fibromyalgia advocacy program and what we're doing, we're looking ahead. We have some new added training that's coming down, is going to be here for 2023. If you're interested in being involved, please let us know. We have a form too on the website, but just send us a message to get involved with all the advocacy that we're going to continue doing. So in 2019, we launched an advocacy program in Washington, D.C. We had some amazing advocates join us in person at Capitol Hill talking about fibromyalgia advocacy with our representatives, really diving into the need that we need investment in research. So I can't emphasize this enough. We need to get more investment and funding for fibromyalgia specific research. We need a united voice. We need more collaboration. We need all of you to join us. Even if you can't go to Capitol Hill, that's what we're bringing in a little bit more today, because I know it takes a lot of energy. So we're going to have hybrid stuff coming up, but we continued through. I mean, even right there, we were at Capitol Hill the day it shut down officially, taking meetings. It was nonstop. That's how dedicated everybody was for our fibromyalgia advocates. And then I've done it for a couple years virtually, which has been amazing. And I'm so happy that a lot of people have been able to join us for our virtual meetings. So upcoming is hybrid. But I love this idea from Brandi that she's going to share with you is staying involved or how to get started. Because I know it sounds really intimidating. And I think Brandi can speak to this along with some of the other advocates. But once you start doing it, I think people fall in love with the momentum and they actually see how powerful it is. So Brandi came to the table with this great idea of how to get more people involved and start the process. So Brandi, I'm going to let you take it away with your holiday idea here and share with our support fibro friends how they can get started.
Yeah, so thank you, Melissa. Advocacy is a huge, huge step of the awareness. A lot of people, they see awareness and they're like, okay, well, awareness is really important. But truly, what is awareness if you don't follow it up with something? Okay, so awareness, when you break it down, is just making someone aware of a problem. I always tell my kids, because I learned it in the military, don't come to me with just a problem. Let's think of solutions as well. And I feel like advocacy is where we would take those solutions. And so, just that word advocacy itself is very intimidating. And it's like, okay, I want to get involved with the fibromyalgia community, and advocacy promotes changes. But how could little old me be able to do that? A lot of people say, advocacy is something that the experts need to know how to do. Like, you need to be doing it for a long time, or, I need to have more knowledge and I need to do this and that. And I want to tell you that's absolutely not true. I inadvertently became an advocate. And when I realized I was an advocate, I was like, wow, like I never thought I would be able to do this, because it seems like it's just such an elevating role that I didn't have the expertise to be able to do. And then I realized, when I was talking about awareness and doing something with it and taking actions to those problems that we were doing with awareness, we were saying fibromyalgia causes this, that, and the other thing. That is making people aware of those problems, but how can we start making those changes? And I just, I was like, okay, how do we do this? And I went to Melissa and we started talking, and I felt really intimidated. I had been doing research. I knew why awareness campaigns majority of the time fail, but I really didn't know how to do it. And then fast forward, and we're doing it. And so Melissa and I have been talking about, how do we get other people involved with this advocacy, because it is so intimidating and people can seem like they can't do it because they don't have the knowledge or the expertise or the know-how. And so we need to break it down to where everyone is involved, because anyone can be involved with advocacy. You don't have to have a whole lot. All you really need to do, let's just say, is come to the table with your story. That's being an advocate. You're sharing your story. That's part of advocacy. But really, everything we do at Support Fibro, we want to make sure that it is doable to other people. It's for other people, that it's very measurable and something that doesn't cause burnout. Melissa's huge about burnout. She's constantly reminding me about burnout because of all the symptoms that it carries. And how do we make it fun and involving and just break it down so anyone feels as though they can just step into it? And so Melissa told me about Patience Rising in this master advocacy class. Maybe she can talk a little bit about it afterwards, because she was really been talking to me about it. And I was just like, I don't know if I could. And then, I just did it. And I've been in this class and I've learned a lot of things that I didn't even realize was part of the advocacy process. So it's continuously learning these things and learning how to apply it to my story and being able to make those changes for the entire fibromyalgia community. I like to think of advocacy as like the Lorax. Like he was like, oh, my little tiny voice can't do anything. But when everybody puts their voices together, they really blew the roof off of that flower and they were able to be heard. And that's how advocacy is. We all got to put our voices together to make that change. So everybody's story counts. So getting back to this advocacy class, in the very beginning, I would say probably like 2 or 3 weeks in, I saw this advocate, and I really wish I could remember her name. But she was saying, when she shares her story, she tries to do advocacy all year round, which is really important, not just during May, but through the entire year. And she had this great idea of making these holiday cards for her local representatives. So that way she is just constantly putting her face there, and that way she's remembered. And so I immediately made a Post-it note. If anyone follows me, they know that I do Post-it notes everywhere. And so this was back in August, beginning of September. So I made a note, holiday cards for advocacy, and I flipped to November and I stuck it on there. And I said, when that time comes around, we're going to revisit this idea. And here we are. And so this is what I encourage for all of these holiday cards. If you want to get involved in advocacy, I think this is a great baby step forward. I'm always talking about great changes does not come overnight. It takes these little baby steps. If you ever saw the movie What About Bob? Baby steps is where I got it from. So anyway, this is a great way to do it. Grab a holiday card. So I buy these at the end of every Christmas season. So they have these little holiday cards. Buy them in packs. They're like packs of 10. I think I paid 50 cents for them. And I always stock up on them for the next year to be able to send them out to friends and family. So it doesn't do a lot. If you have some, just grab it. Find out your representative for your state. And I believe that do we have steps for that, Melissa, on our website?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So go to supportfibro.org. I'm very excited about this, you guys. I keep tripping over my words. Go to supportfibro.org and find out how to find your state and representatives. And go in there and just grab a card. And if you want to print out a picture that has a picture of you and your kids or your family or loved ones or whatever, slap it in there and just, you don't have to make this a big thing. You don't have to share your story if you don't want to. You can just say, for example, what I plan to do is say, dear Senator Scott, thank you for what you do for our state. We have met in the past because I have met with his staff, in the past, and can say, we had it in the past, or if you haven't had anything, you can just say, hey, I live in your district, this and that. And this is my family, and I live with fibromyalgia and chronic pain, and, just do whatever feels natural for you. If you're just writing a holiday card to a friend, imagine you're doing that. You're writing it to a friend. This is a friend that you may or may not have contact with again in the future, but just do it now. So that way, if you do have contact with him or her in the future, you have that connection already. So what is the big deal about these holiday cards? Well, this is what it's going to do. One, is going to ease you into the advocacy process. It's that taking that baby step. So you're not just going full on and doing all this stuff and getting submerged and getting overwhelmed and saying, oh my goodness, I don't even know where to begin. I just don't even want to do that. That can be a big turnoff with anything that you try to do. So this is just going to ease you into it. Grab a holiday card, send it off. Finding your reps. This is going to teach you how to find your representative, which is super important when it comes to sharing your story or when it comes to advocacy. So helps you find your story. So it puts them on your radar. So now you know who your representative are. So now you know who to keep an eye on. Follow them on social media. I encourage you to do so. You really can find out a lot about your representatives when you follow them on social media. And that way you're now aware of them. Now you know how to find them. You know who they are. You're following them on social media. You're already doing a lot of advocacy work. May not seem like it, but you are. And this is also going to do the reverse. It's going to put you on their radar, that they're going to get a lot of correspondence, whether it be through mail or email or whatever it is. But this is going to put you on their radar. I'm not going to sit there and say that they're going to exactly remember you if you ever meet them again, but it doesn't matter. You're just going to be put on their radar. And if they see your name enough times, they see your face enough times, they'll start to put that together. This is going to give you a little bit of confidence with advocacy, taking this little baby step and doing this holiday card and putting it in the mail. You're going to be like, I did it. Okay. And this is how you can approach everything with advocacy. Take those steps that you feel confident in doing. And it's just going to keep building your confidence up. Don't try to bite off more than you can chew. Just take those little steps. This also gives a face and a name with fibromyalgia. This is huge that I've learned along the way, as well as in this advocacy class, is that you want to humanize your condition. Just put a name and a face to it. So it's not just when they read faces. Have y'all seen that the Reels video? I've been watching a lot of Reels video where it's like someone is sitting there going, you can't really understand what they're saying, like da 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 da. It's all right there in black and white, plain as day, and like it's very overwhelming, right? And I like that because that's what it can seem like with fibromyalgia when you're reading about it and everything. It's just a lot of it's confusing and you're not really understanding it. But when you start to share your story, it's not just words on paper anymore. It's turning it into something full-fledged and living. And that's really important with advocacy and sharing your story. It's just not that it's words on a page, that there's a person that's living this life from day to day and it is real. And it's not to say that not everybody does not believe it. There are people out there that believe it, but it's just making it more personable. And this helps take a step forward in the entire advocacy process. Like I said, if you're really just hesitant on how to get involved, this is just that one small step that you can get involved, and taking that one step can make a huge difference. I've been putting something off for like 3 or 4 months now. And this morning, you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm not putting it off anymore. I'm just going to do it. And I took about an hour to just start it. And afterwards, even just 1 hour, I didn't get a lot done in that 1 hour, but I was like, oh my goodness, okay, now I feel like I can go forward. Now I feel like I've taken that initial step. Okay, let's just keep going. So it's like giving that little train just a little bit of a push so you can say, okay, I can do this, and you can continue to progress further. So those are the things that I encourage you to do. Grab some holiday cards, have your kids like draw pictures in it and like put it in there too. I think that's a great idea. If you can put a photo in there, you can. Go to supportfibromyalgia.org and find out how to find your state representatives. And reach out to us if at any time you feel as though you can't do it, or if it's confusing or anything like that. That's what Melissa and I are here for, is to help others get involved with this advocacy. Because like I said, I'm gonna circle around to the beginning before I sign off and say, you know, awareness is important, but advocacy is equally important. You can't have one without the other. You make people aware of the problem through awareness, and then you take actions to be able to solve those problems through advocacy. So it's really important for the two to go hand in hand. So if you're looking to help with making changes, positive, impactful changes in the fibromyalgia community, I encourage you to reach out to either of us. My blog is beingfibromom.com. Tell me what you think about the new website layout. I've been going through there and just cleaning it up, getting all the broken links and just making it so it's more visually appealing. But right there on the front page under beingfibromom.com, there is a section about advocacy and how you can get involved. So Melissa, that's all I really wanted to say. I know that was a mouthful and I tend to talk really fast sometimes, so I hope I didn't talk too fast.
Well, you mentioned multiple important points. So one, we'll definitely add this information right and available so people can easily find it in a new blog. So we'll post this video on the website with links to find out who your representatives are. And then just the connection, building connection with some of the local representatives too, because in May we talk about proclamations, Fibromyalgia Awareness Month. So it's a great way to stay connected. And then just use your voice, let them know they care, because we do need the support, because we are doing federal level advocacy for fibromyalgia right now. And then you mentioned Patients Rising. So they have this wonderful masterclass. They'll be enrolling for spring in no time. I'm so glad that when I see fibromyalgia advocates actually join the class. But as you can see, Brandi, from the entire class too, you get to meet other advocates in other chronic illness conditions. Like I've met so many people and learned about things like scleroderma, other rare diseases. So you're noticing that benefit now as you collaborate with other people too. And then looking at healthcare advocacy, right? It's not just disease specific.
Yeah, there's a lot of information, and being a disabled veteran and getting my healthcare through the the Veterans Affairs, I wasn't aware of a lot like step therapy and out of pocket expenses. I was completely ignorant to all of that. And so not only just learning the instruction, like the importance behind everything, which I encourage people to join the class as well, because each lesson is a short video, but the information that they share is it's priceless, because I had no idea about those things. And the other aspect is I get to connect with other fibromyalgia warriors that live in my state, which was amazing. And we did have some people from this past May, I was about to say March, this past May actually in the class as well. And so that's really encouraging too. This class is just, it is informed me of so many things that I did not was aware out there. And it's like, wow, there's so many more barriers than I realize that people are living with.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's a free master class. So that's where I always encourage people to take it and learn. There's a lot of information because we do focus a lot on the federal fibromyalgia advocacy because we have a long road ahead and that investment. But sometimes people ask about state level. That's why we collaborate with organizations like Patients Rising Now, iPain, to help people get things on a state level. Or we've done a lot with the Arthritis Foundation when it comes to step therapy. So we're always organizing and getting other advocates involved that way. So it's a team effort. And I mean, I've just learned so much. I didn't even know, for example, how much oxygen actually costs for people that need oxygen for their oxygen machines. So I even learned that in the master class just recently. So it's a lot of good shared information. And as patient advocates, as patient community members, we can really learn a lot from each other. So learning is huge. I mean, we're about education here. and getting involved. So this idea of sending out, a holiday card to your representatives, please definitely, if you can or you have any questions, reach out to us. We'd be happy to support you because we definitely need it. And if you guys want to, if you're whatever state, it doesn't matter, let them know. And, we appreciate their time because we've taken a lot of meetings with a lot of representatives, and virtual, it allowed us to really expand that. It was nonstop this past May.
Yeah, it really was. And I did want to highlight another thing that you said about the Patients Rising, the Master Advocacy class was people there, it's such a community. And it wasn't just for the fibro community, just overall the community of helping one another. I know that one parent in particular was sharing their struggles that they had with their son. And my older sister is actually going through a lot of the same issues for her son. And so I reached out to her and was like, hey, like, you're talking about this, like my sister's going through those issues. And her and I have this back and forth dialogue. And she gave me so much incredible, useful information that I was able to share with my sister. And so now she's going down that path. And my sister even said, hey, would you come to some of these appointments with me? Because you know what you're talking about. And I don't. And I said, actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's this other advocate that's helping me learn about all this information. And I had no idea any of these things were even out there as options. And so you will get something from that advocacy class and being able to help one another. We're all about community, especially at Support Fiber. We're about community and helping one another out. And I definitely have that sense of community through the class.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're big supporters of that joint effort, because I know that we can only cover so much here at Support Fibro, and we need to be able to collaborate with other networks of people that can help across the board with, state level or just healthcare type advocacy and maneuvering the system. It can be a lot for any of us. And if you're caregivers, patients, I think that's why it gives a good network. And they have that patient concierge service too, that you can call to get information. So that's why collaboration for us is key. And we team up with other organizations across all chronic illness conditions and improve advocacy work for everybody in the community. But we definitely will have more announcements coming soon about fibromyalgia specific advocacy. I love, though, that, Brandi, that we are collaborating with the lupus community and migraine community on fibromyalgia. So we're going to see some cool new faces joining us in advocacy in 2023.
Yeah, they're the people from lupus that I have met, like Madi and Estella and Juana and Estella's daughters, like, I knew of them before we actually met them in 2019, before I actually met them in person. I knew of them, but meeting them in person, there was such an energy to it. And I realized just how much fibro and lupus overlaps. And then I started being more aware of how other conditions really overlap, not just with fibro, but just overlapping, period. And this just reaffirms what we believe at Support Fibro is not doing it alone. And that could be, figuring out treatments to be able to work, but advocacy, awareness, all of that stuff. This is just really, it's important to us. And I know it's important to Melissa, it's important to me that we just work together to be able to do this. And like, it's just, I'm speechless sometimes, but just how much it is helpful to have all of that.
Well, the investment in research to cross collaboration, because so many people have, for example, like Kelsey joined us in California for the group, and migraines, she's a big migraine advocate. So and we see with lupus families. So everybody knows, like, it runs together, but we're trying to get this investment in research because anything and everything will help, especially if we understand fibromyalgia related to these other illnesses, because we learn so much. So that's why we need that specific investment in research. We are going after a proper classification, because in my mind, if we were able to get this proper classification, especially along the brain health, that might open up really great routes in like brain health clinics, more brain health research, but we would get the more funding, and that would then, it all sort of points back to research, so we can become investable again in fibromyalgia for other stakeholders that are interested. It's starting to happen. There's a lot more interest in biomarker research. Why is there so much fibromyalgia present in autoimmune conditions? So we got to continue as patients to continue to do the work. I know it's hard for many of us because energy, capacity, and those things. So do what you can, like sending out a holiday card to your representatives. It would be very much appreciated. So thank you, Brandi, for joining us today. We got to do more of these streams more regularly and have topics. I know we have some special announcements coming up too, which we will have to announce shortly. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you. The holidays are a hard time for many of us. I just want to say you're not struggling alone. I don't want you to think that that you're just fighting this alone. Somebody has been where you are, is where you are, or will be where you are, and all you have to do is reach out. And I know that sounds super easy. I'm not saying that it is. I've been there. I know that it's really hard to reach out, but try to do the best you can to reach out to someone, whether it be us and you just want to remain anonymous and say, hey, I just want to vent some stuff. Sometimes just venting it can make you feel better, but you're not alone during this holiday season. There's many of us that are struggling, and just know that we're here if you ever want to reach out, and we can just figure it out together. It's just, this is a really hard time, but we're doing it together.
Absolutely. You're not alone. And please use the support group systems. We talk a lot about support groups here too, and we share their meetings and information. I know I just attended Maudie's holiday party. It's a great way to gain support. And I'm honestly encouraging everyone, if you need it, there's no judgment in any of these groups. The people that run these support groups, and there's a wonderful one too, virtually now, they've been in Orange County. I know them very well. They got a Fibromyalgia Legacy Award. They come with no judgment here. They're just open arms. You will get giant hugs, even if it's virtual. You can just, I mean, Brandi finally got to talk to Maudie more. So you can tell, like, there's just a lot of heart with everybody that runs these support groups. And we're going to connect you to those people so that way you're not alone. Please utilize it. Even if you pop on to Zoom, you don't have to turn on your camera. They're okay with that. But I guarantee you by the end, with all of the people, you will have your camera on. You will be smiling and laughing, just like all of us that experience it. So please definitely utilize those tools right now. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. We'll have some special announcements very soon. Bye.